more than a decade back, when I used to more frequently address college audiences, I used to say, all your education put together on one side is less valuable than one single course on education of the self, life education. But we are taught of everything: sciences, humanities, languages, polity. All of that we are well versed in. But in no book generally do we find the word self. The question of identity remains neglected. Yes, I understand. In neuroscience we take it up, in psychology we take it up. First of all, a very small fraction of students opts for these things. Secondly, even if they do opt for these disciplines, that happens only after class 12th. And thirdly, the question of liberation from suffering, that is not taken up even in these disciplines. Because it's not sufficient to talk of the psyche. One also has to talk of liberation, because that's what we want. The fundamental human condition is of suffering. That deserves attention. How to tackle that problem? What is suffering? Where does it come from? And how to be liberated from it? Is my existence not congruous with, synonymous with suffering? Can I continue to be and yet not suffer? We don't take up these questions. The result is the kind of catastrophe you just talked of. And the irony is, it's still not very visible at the material level. Had it been very visible, then we would have been shaken up and something would have been done. Our indifference, our complacency itself testifies that the full effects of the inner catastrophe are still not externally manifest. So we can afford to remain oblivious. Right? But that won't continue for long. And I shudder to think of a situation in which it in fact does continue for long. That would mean a world in which everything is more or less all right on the surface. But within, everybody is insane. Externally, everything is orderly, and within everything is chaotic. And when insanity becomes universal, then we'll call it the norm. And once you call it the norm, then nothing comes as a shock. You don't even want to discuss chaos or insanity or disorder, because that's the norm. Something is taken up for discussion, consideration, only if it appears unusual, right? If everybody goes mad, who would talk of madness? In a madhouse, nobody is mad. Everybody is okay. And we are, I fear, very speedily hurtling towards that kind of situation. And in that situation, you know who's declared mad? Those who dare to talk of madness. They are the ones labeled mad and lynched. It's a very unfortunate capacity that we as human beings have. The capacity to adapt and survive. Thank you. We can adapt. We can acclimatize. And we can survive even with horrible internal madness. We probably already are doing that. And being insane within will behave and display as if everything is all right. Getting it? Now, where is the question of corrective action? To treat a disease, first of all, one has to acknowledge a disease as disease. How can there be treatment sans diagnosis? But if disease, I repeat, becomes commonplace, then it is no more called a disease. It's called being human. It's a part of our human nature, no? It's normal. It's natural, as we say these days. So you tell someone, please, you are being violent. See what you're doing to the animal. They say, no, this is not violence. I'm just being natural. Oh, see, there is a lot of exploitation and lust and greed and possessiveness and obviously violence in your relationships. Back comes the reply. But isn't all that natural? So we are very quickly coming to. All our diseases will be called our nature.